We live in a world overflowing with voices. Every day we are offered opinions, approval, criticism, subtle manipulations, and silent expectations. Most of these things come dressed as gifts. Someone praises you, how nice. Someone gives you advice, how helpful. Someone worries for you, how kind. Yet behind some of these gestures lie invisible shackles. Imagine waking up and feeling strangely heavy, not because of your physical body, but because of all the invisible baggage handed to you. The need to please others, the fear of disapproval, the dependence on applause. Slowly, we stop living from the inside out and begin living from the outside in. Our compass no longer points to what we know to be right, but to whatever will get us the most approval or the least punishment. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this danger. They spoke of freedom not as a political state, but as an inner condition. True freedom, they said, is when nothing outside of you can dictate your happiness, worth, or peace. And this is what this essay is about. 5 things you must never accept from anyone if you want to live freely and powerfully. We are going to walk through 5 poisons that corrode the soul: praise, permission, pity, validation, dependence, and fear imposed by others. These are not obvious enemies. They can look like kindness, care, or protection. But once you take them in, they slowly drain your strength. I will not simply repeat what the video said. Instead, I will expand each idea, share real-world observations, and add practical exercises that you can try right now. Think of this as not just a summary, but a masterclass on inner sovereignty based on Stoic principles and my own reflections. So let us begin. 1. Praise, the sweetest trap. At first glance, praise seems harmless, pleasant, even necessary. When someone tells us, "Good job, I'm proud of you, you are amazing," we feel seen, appreciated. Praise is a form of social glue. It tells us we belong. But the danger begins when we build our identity around praise. When we start to need it to function, it becomes an addiction. Like any addiction, the more we have, the more we crave. Soon, we are no longer doing what we believe is right, but what will get us the next dose of approval. Seneca warned that the opinions of others are fickle winds, and if we tie our sails to them, we are blown off course. The Stoic ideal is to act according to reason and virtue, regardless of applause or condemnation. A personal reflection. When I was younger, I thrived on praise. If I received recognition at school or work, I felt alive. But if there was silence, no compliment, no acknowledgement, I felt invisible. I overworked myself trying to earn the next word of praise. Eventually, I realized that I had become a slave to something outside of my control. True freedom came when I shifted my focus inward. Did I do my best? Did I act with integrity? Did I follow my values? If yes, then praise was just a bonus, not the reason for acting. Practical exercises. Silent achievements. Pick one goal this week and accomplish it without telling anyone. Notice how it feels to know quietly that you have done something worthwhile. Praise. Detox. The next time you receive praise, say thank you, but don't mentally replay it for hours. Let it go as quickly as criticism. Internal scoreboard. Write down what you value most: honesty, discipline, creativity. Judge yourself only by whether you are living these values. When you stop needing praise, you gain something much better: unshakable confidence. You are no longer tossed about by the opinions of others. 2. Permission. The illusion of a gatekeeper. How often do we wait for someone to tell us we are ready? We wait for the teacher to say yes, for the boss to approve, for the partner to agree. We wait, and sometimes we wait so long that life passes us by. The truth is, in most areas of life, there is no ultimate gatekeeper. There is no cosmic official who stamps you as ready. The Stoics remind us that we have power over our own mind and choices. If something is within your control, act. If it is not, prepare yourself to accept the result. A reflection from life. I once delayed starting a creative project for months because I was secretly hoping someone would encourage me, tell me it was a good idea, give me a sign. That sign never came. Eventually, I realized that my waiting was just fear disguised as prudence. The day I acted without anyone's permission was terrifying and liberating. It taught me that progress does not require universal agreement. It requires personal courage. Practical exercises. Identify the wait. List areas where you are waiting to be ready, waiting for someone's approval. Give yourself permission. Write a simple statement: I give myself permission to start. Read it aloud. Take a small action. Send that email, write that paragraph, apply for that opportunity. Permission is a cage with an open door. You can step out at any time. 3. Pity, the subtle poison. Compassion is beautiful, but pity can be toxic. Compassion says, I see your pain and I respect your strength. Pity says, you are weak, you poor thing. The first uplifts, the second diminishes. When we accept pity, we risk accepting a diminished view of ourselves. We begin to believe we are broken, helpless, defined by our wounds. The Stoics teach that suffering is a teacher, not a curse. Pain is a forge in which character is made. A reflection on pity. During a difficult season in my life, people said, Dur, I feel so sorry for you. At first, I welcomed it. It felt like care. But over time, it made me feel small, like I was a victim of fate, not a participant in my own life. I found strength when I shifted from why me to what can this teach me? That question turned hardship from an enemy into an instructor. Practical exercises. Reframe hardship. When something painful happens, write down one thing it could teach you. Reject diminishment. When someone pities you, thank them politely, but say something affirming. Yes, it's hard, but I'm learning a lot. Stand tall. Practice dignified posture even in tough moments. Your body affects your mindset. You are not a victim. You are a student of life. Every challenge is an assignment in the school of resilience. 4. Validation dependence. Building on borrowed words. Recognition feels good, but it is dangerous when it becomes a need. If your mood rises and falls based on likes, applause, or nods of approval, you are no longer free. You are living on borrowed words. Marcus Aurelius wrote that ambition ties your well-being to what others think, while sanity ties it to your own actions. When your worth comes from within, no one can give it or take it away. A reflection on validation. I once published an article online and received glowing comments. I felt on top of the world until the next article got fewer likes. Suddenly, I questioned my ability, my worth. That was the wake-up call. My self-respect had been outsourced to strangers on the internet. Since then, I have worked to measure success by one thing. Did I show up fully? Did I act with excellence? If yes, I am at peace, whether one person notices or a million. Practical exercises. Daily journal. Record actions you are proud of each day. Focus on what you did, not on others' reactions. Digital fast. Take a short break from social media to detox from constant validation seeking. Self-dialogue. Each morning affirm, my worth comes from my actions and values, not from external applause. Freedom is when you walk your path regardless of who is watching. 5. Fear. The leash others offer. Fear is one of the strongest tools of control. People may try to scare you into compliance through threats, criticism, rejection, silence, or emotional manipulation. If you accept their fear, you put a leash around your own neck. The Stoics believe that fear, when mastered, it becomes a source of courage. He who fears death will never live as a free man, Seneca wrote. Fear must not be suppressed but transformed into clarity and strength. A reflection on fear. I used to fear what others thought so much that I stayed silent even when I disagreed. That silence cost me opportunities and self-respect. One day I asked myself, what's the worst that could happen if I speak up? I realized most of my fears were exaggerated. I began to take small risks, sharing my ideas, standing up for myself. Each time fear shrank a little more. Practical exercises. Name the fear. Write down what you fear most right now. Shrink it. List the worst possible outcome. Is it survivable? Often, yes. Act anyway. Do one small action that scares you just to prove you are stronger than fear. Fear can either enslave you or guide you. Make it your ally, bringing it all together. These 5 things, praise, permission, pity, validation dependence, and fear, are subtle gifts we often accept without thinking, but each one gives away a piece of our power. Refusing them does not mean rejecting love, community, or support. It means reclaiming sovereignty. It means living by your own compass, guided by reason and virtue. When you stop being driven by praise, you become unshakable. When you stop waiting for permission, you become unstoppable. When you refuse pity, you retain dignity. When you release validation dependence, you become steady. When you face fear, you become free. True power is quiet. It does not need to shout. It does not need to be seen. It is measured not by how many follow you, but by how little can move you off your course. So here is my challenge. Pick one of the 5 gifts and refuse it today. Maybe you will stop checking for likes. Maybe you will begin the project you've delayed. Maybe you will meet fear with action. As you practice, you will notice something beautiful. The world may not change, but you will. And when you change, the way you experience life changes. That is the Stoic way. That is the path to true freedom.